where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki dives on the right side, very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Duna Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. The beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Who wouldn't want to experience a real Formula One car at a track it actually raced at? It should come as no surprise then that the Lotus 79 community has elected to include Zolder on its schedule once again. Getting to put oneself in the shoes of Andretti and Peterson must certainly feel special, but it is not something you want to get distracted by with the constant focus required by this tricky circuit. We'll see whose mind is pinpoint sharp as we get ready to watch round 8 of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, standing in for Jake Sperry today, and with me in the booth is Sean Crackers Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Ducky Beard. Sean, Zolder comes with a heap of corner names that are as hard to pronounce as the chicanes are to navigate. Tell us about the track.
Yes, Joe. Thank you, my friend. The circuit Zolder was built in 1963, and it hosted the Formula One Belgium Grand Prix off and on until about 1984. Now, over the years, numerous safety improvements and renovations have taken place and transformed Zolder into the track we have today. Nowadays, the Blancpain Sprint Series, the Euro Truck Racing Series, the Euro Touring Car Cup, and the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series visit this facility, and even Champ Car had a visit through here at one point, where Sebastian Bourdais now holds the all-time record here of about 1 minute and 14 seconds. In comparison, they're turning 118s in the Lotus 79. Now, in the Lotus 79, this 10-turn, 4-kilometer layout will feature quite a few challenges all the way around. Several chicanes will help spread out this field, but with the long straights, the draft will still play an important role here. Now, with that said, many of these chicanes feature high curbs that could damage this car, and you'll want to stay off of them to keep this car aerodynamically pristine. But as always, the best way to get an idea of what it's like to get around here is jump on board for the GSRC lap around Circuit Zolder. Today, we're going to do it in the BMW. Slow things down a bit for you so you can enjoy your trip around the Belgian countryside.
All right, we've got Kevin Brown in the GSRC BMW, so let's do a lap around Zolder. Coming to turn 1, it's a fast downhill left-hander with a very late apex. Turn in too early and be ready to slide off into the gravel. From there, switch left and set up for 2. This corner and 3 are basically one long arc, but be careful not to push too far wide because the big sausage curbs on the outside can get your car all out of sorts. Keep the power on through 3 and immediately get ready for 4. The car carries a ton of speed through this long sweeper, and it's critical that you nail the exit without leaving the track limits. That's because at the end of this backstretch is one of the most popular overtaking spots, so don't leave yourself vulnerable. Also, make sure not to get too greedy on these huge inner curbs because they can destroy your suspension. From there, we climb the crest and stay left to set up for the second chicane. This is a maddeningly slow and technical set of corners. I wish they could have just extended the runoff instead of putting this thing here, because it's a mess to navigate. From there, turn 7 is going to have a lot of banking, so using every inch of the circuit from apex to track out is gonna pay off. One more big crest, and now we stay left and brake hard for 8. This is another favorite passing zone, so keep an eye on your mirrors. Make sure in late apex this bad boy for the best launch possible. Straighten out the itty-bitty chicane of 9, and then stay right for the final chicane. Watch out for guys heading for the pit lane. They won't be braking, and if you get fixated on them, you're following them in. This is another part where the giant inner curbs can ruin your day, so pay them some respect. Once again, get your exit right, straighten the car out, and now you've completed a lap around Zolder.
There you see the lap around Zolder. A lot of chicanes out there. Obviously had to do it in the BMW this week because Amjad forgot to put the parking brake on the 79 last time he used it. So we're still getting repairs done on that. In the meantime, let's update you on the driver standings in the CTC Championship. First up with the drivers, Nuno Moreira leading the way by 65 points over Journal Free. So he's got actually a pretty handy gap at this point. Not so much between second and third. Cali Ruacola only actually less than 20 points back from Journo. And then Michel Vandenberg, a big jump back to fourth, and a very tight fight between himself and Matt Wood for that fourth position. Sean, what about the team standings? That's usually a hard-fought battle in this series.
Well, it is, and you talk about Michel Vandenberg. There he is right there at the top with the Scuderia Ferrari Spa CFAC team. Him and QC Clapp stand there strong. 26 points over Parmalat Racing Team. Bradham there, and that's Matt Wood and Winfield. All these drivers having a great race, and the one leading up to this one, Marlboro Team, McLaren, Fabian Gerber, and Tobias Gerber there, 29 points back. The battle is tight here, Joe, with just a few rounds left to settle this out. Shadow Team Racing, they're only 31 points back. Nuno Moreira, Gattuso, and the John Player Team Lotus, Kaya Ruacola and Peter Knesny, the American there, the only one in the top five in these team standings currently. But again, 36 points that's the difference there from fifth place in this team championship all the way up to first.
There on screen, for as you were talking about, we saw Michel Vandenberg had moved himself to the pole provisionally. A lot of drivers doing their best to try to topple him. Matt Wood comes the closest so far, only 500ths back. As that completes, though, let's go to the race details, and then we'll get you up to speed on the qualifying. We're on round 8, of course. This is official iRacing, so we've got 12 weeks of racing. There are 4 drops in the Drivers' Championship that they hold, and then there's 2 drops in the Teams' Championship. Today's race is going to be 34 laps, and with it being an open setup and run like they did back in 78, there is no expected stop for fuel, no planned pit stops out there. There is an incident cap, 17 incidents, and once you hit that, you will be disqualified, and they do base their points off of the official iRacing points. Now, Michel Vandenberg has been overtaken. Juha Norlampi, the Finn, has got himself up at the top. And then Journo Frisch as well has moved into second ahead of Vandenberg. So a lot of shuffling still going on in the qualifying, Sean.
Yeah, and Joe, you know what? I happened to watch the race leading up to this one. It started a couple hours ago. Let me give you the top 5 for that one to see if you see anything familiar here. Journo Frisch was your winner. Michel Vandenberg come in second. Juha Norlampi third. Matt Wood fourth. And who did we have? Jared Hofer in fifth. Does anything strike out at you there when we look at the top 5 in qualifying right now?
Well, I'd say that a lot of the names they're going to see at the start of the grid are going to be many of those same names as we watch the last of the drivers just complete. Harriet Lacourt being one of them from France.
And Journo Frisch just put it on the pole with his final lap, a 1:18.3. 0.2 of a second better than Juha Norlampi sitting there in second.
Everybody has now completed their qualifying lap, so why don't we go through your grid? Journo Frisch going to be starting on the pole. Juha Norlampi gets bumped down at the last second into second place. Michel Vandenberg starting row 2 and third. He's flanked by Matt Wood, who's having a stellar season this time around. In fourth, Gerd Hofer starts in fifth, and then next to him in sixth, it's going to be Fabian Gerber. Lear Hughes will be starting in P7. Mark Pickford next to him, running with some more kittens under the hood. In 8th, Steve Bycroft in 9th, and then Cali Ruacola will round out our top 10.
All right, Joe, and in row 6, it's going to be Tobias Gerber and Nicholas Landau. Row 7, John Stevens, Richard Borchers. Row 8, QC Clapp and Adam Frazier. Row 9 going to be Pablo Suarez and Mark Winfield. And row 10, Paolo Alberton and Keith Herner.
Then Robert Simpkins in 21st with Peter Canesi in 22nd. Daniel Gattuso will be starting the race in the 23rd position, followed by Barry West in 24th and Masson Pascal in 25th. Fabio Guerrero starts the race in 26th with Steve Sarles in 27th. Thomas Hedstrom will be 28th at the drop of the green. Adnan Dizdarovec, excuse me if I mispronounced that, starts in 29th. Andrew Jones rounds out the top 30, and I'll just finish off the field that we have today. Andrew Ang, 31st. Randy Hatches in 32nd. Todd Herner, 33rd. And Terry LaCourte has not got a lap time in out there, unfortunately. He'll be starting at tail end Charlie in 34th. Pretty full field out there today, Sean.
Just about as full as it gets without having to split, Joe. And this should be fun. The trip from that starting grid down into Erst should be quite a battle. 2x2 for sure. We may see some attempt 3 wide there.
I have no doubt about that. The bigger problem, I think, is going to be the chicanes on this first lap, as cars will be very much stacked together. And it could be a problem if anybody gets tangled with one another, everybody trying to cycle through. So as the cars work their way to the grid, you can see them slowly one by one appearing as all the drivers check to make sure they've got the right setup in, ensure that they've got enough fuel for a race distance, doing all the last little things that you need to do to prepare yourself for 34 laps here around Zolder. Downhill start, you can see very steep downhill start into Erst. So easy to outbrake yourself into that corner. Hopefully nobody will overshoot that and everybody will get through clean. It's not uncommon, though, to see at least one or two slip into the gravel that's on the outside that separates it from the pit lane exit.
You know, I didn't bring any yard sale signs with me today either, so they better be careful getting down through there.
And pole sitters now come out onto the grid. Frisch, followed by Nora Lampe, just waiting on Ruicola at this point. I believe he's the last driver there. You see that empty spot in there that we're waiting to come out to the starting grid. Looks like also John Stevens, another car we're waiting. Frisch is out there. Stevens, the last one that we're waiting. And it looks like he's not going to grid as the engines are now revving. Green flag is out, and we get started for round 8 in the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship. Johan Orlampi with a horrible start. He gets challenged immediately by Vandenberg. Or excuse me, it was Frisch that got a bad start. Looks like mostly clean through Erst. I'm checking to see if we had anybody with an off. It looks like everyone's through.
Everybody's through. One car tried to make it 3 wide. It was Pablo Lombarra Suarez. He does get through.
Bianchi clean out the gates, holds on, or excuse me, Frisch clean out the gates through Bianchi. Holds on to his first place. Now they hit Kleine, the first of the chicanes. We got one side-by-side. That's Tobias Gerber. He manages to get through there clean. Everybody else just kind of picking their way through slowly but surely. We got one cut course. That looks like to be Andrew Ang, but he is well down the field already. Everybody else managed to get through the first chicane. What about the second? Looks like most of the field already through there.
So far, so good, Joe, as they get down into turn 8 here. Everybody seems to have gone line to start at this point.
Right on board with Nora Lampe, who's got himself a slight gap over Vandenberg, but the bigger gap is ahead of him as Journo is starting to stretch away. We complete lap 1 with a nice handy lead in his pocket of about 1 second.
Oh, Robert Simpkins around. He gets hit by Peter Konieczny. Trouble in the Jackie X chicane for them. I'll say that 100 times. Let's get a replay of that here, Joe.
It looks like it's stacked up in front of him. That caused him to have to unexpectedly slow, and he gets bumped around by Peter. Poor Peter. Oh, and Peter gets tipped as well. We didn't see it on screen there. Let's watch on board Peter's view just to see what this looks like. Just how sudden.
Yeah,
wow, look at that checkup.
Peter's car comes across. He's going to slide back across the track here, Joe, and when he does, he's going to get tagged again, and that's what sends him off all the way into the dirt there.
And you know, from that onboard view, it didn't look like he actually made contact. I think there was some net code involved as we come back to our leaders live now. Burlappi still giving chase, not able to make any inroads on the Austrian. Down they come to the Ick chicane once again. Hopefully a little bit cleaner for the field this time. Close battle going on between Gerd Hofer and Fabian Gerber. This is for 5th position. Gerber gets a good run out of that last chicane. Is he going to take a peek into Erst? Yes, he is. Sticks his nose in, but can't quite find the apex. We'll have to wait in 6th for now. Through turns 2 and 3, effectively one long arc through here. And then you're up to the ever-critical Bianchi as we continue to ride on board with Gerber. Now we've jumped off. Long straightaway down to this tight chicane here, Sean.
Yeah, Joe, and boy, I love that shot right there as they head down there. There's so many battles going on here in the top 10. Here's the battle for 7th right now. Lear Hughes, Kaya Ruokola trying to take this position away.
He took a look into Kleina, but wasn't close enough. He brought it back in line. And this time he doesn't make an attack into Turleman. So for now, Lear Hughes is going to be able to hold on to 7th. But you have to wonder how long that Ruokola is going to wait back there. He's used to running a little bit higher than 8th position.
Good battle. These two have been at it since the green flag dropped. Joe, just some quick casualties to report. Robert Simpkins had trouble. Obviously, Konechny, we saw that. Thomas Hedstrom had trouble, and so did Randy Hatches. Their cars are in the pit currently.
Boy, I think that Ruokola is going to have his head on a swivel because here comes Mark Pickford. He's caught up to the two of them. We might see a 3-way battle, even 4-way battle as Steve Bycroft is waiting in the wings in case something erupts. We look over the shoulder of Pickford, being helped by one of his traditional cats there on his helmet. Out of Bianchi they come. Now putting the pedal fully down. You can see all 4 cars there in one shot as they head for the Kleine chicane. No attempt once again, but every time Ruokola gets that nose right under the gearbox of Hughes.
I believe he was checking to see how much fluid was in that gearbox that time.
Ooh, now they all get accordion together there through Turleman, but a much better exit for both Hughes and Ruokola. Oh no! That was Gerber off track, and poor Lear Hughes had no warning, just plows into the back of him. I think Hughes had about as much forewarning as we did, because man, that just caught me by surprise.
And tough luck for Lear Hughes again. Guy just can't seem to find any luck this season. We got an onboard coming with Lear Hughes. Hang on, everybody.
Wow, that was sudden for Gerber. Let's see from the UKNI driver's perspective. Yeah, wow, that car just appeared on track the way that it bounced off the wall. So that puts both of them in the pits. Unfortunately, does promote a few drivers. Of course, Hofer now 5th, Pickford up to 6th, Ruokola up to 7th because of the incident.
And Joe, here in the middle of the top 10, Tobias Gerber making up big ground here quick, just cruised right around Steve Bycroft and Richard Borchers, and now on the attack, Kaya Ruokola.
He can't only focus ahead, though, because Steve Bycroft is back there, hounding him at every corner. And then Bycroft has Richard Borchers in his mirrors, too. With so many cars out on track, we're bound to just get the battles clogging up one another as they tend to back each other up. Oh, there's an attempt. Whoa, deep into it. Slams into the side of Tobias Gerber, who then slides sideways across Boulder Berghausfeld. Borchers, not a polite pass at all. I'm not sure if he really intended to get that second spot. Wow, that Williams was down the inside and then some.
talk about hashtag send it. I'm going to go on board with him here now, Joe.
Ducks to the inside, and then, oh, there's another car there. Can't get it woed up. Well, he does get it woed up, but with a little help.
It's some ARCA brake assistance there.
So that does separate things a little bit here at the top flight, as a few drivers have been taken out and spread apart there in our top 10, although we still see a bit of a battle between Bycroft and Landau.
And Joe, I got to be honest with you up front here, Michel Vandenberg, just a little bit faster the last trip around than Juha Norlampi, and he is really starting to threaten Juha here. Juha already having run a race this morning, running this one as well, and the pressure is on for Michel right now.
The Benelux driver certainly trying all he can to unsettle Norlampi. The Finn is cool as ever, though. Slides it down through Erst, hitting his marks nicely. And in fact, he's keeping Frisch in check. Oh, is there a problem with Bycroft? Whoa, big problem with Bycroft. What has happened here on the front stretch? A number of cars involved in that one. That was kicked off by contact between Borchers and Ruokola. Looks like Borchers lost it on the exit. Ruokola was trying to take advantage with a better run. You're going to see that's the Williams of Borchers slipping out. And then it was just chaos with no place to go for avoiding action for those two cars behind.
Well, come back on track with Borchers now being passed by Paolo Albertin.
I'm amazed that Borchers is still going.
Yeah, he's got severe damage on that car, and now Tobias Gerber going to get around.
He is way off pace, though. I'm hoping that he's taking this car back in for repairs, because that car at this point is just too slow to keep out on track.
Oh, what's happened with Ruokola? Ruokola slipping back again?
Remember, Ruokola
that's right, got that damage, yep.
Yeah, so I'm sure he is not up to full song.
Yeah, car's
right now.
Well, I can tell he's struggling with the wheel here, Joe.
Yep, there goes 9th place as Paolo Albertson gets through. But Ruocola's going to keep it out. Oof, he is struggling with the handling now. You can see that thing bob and weave coming through the last chicane. Tobias Gerber gets by now. I don't think he's going to be keeping it out too many more laps. He's got to put out the white flag on this one. Barry West now to his inside. And then he's going to lose one more right here. That's Mark Winfield getting himself up into 12th now. So not too surprising, Sean, that we've got a little bit of chaos up at the here at Zolder. Oh, quite a battle here that we're looking at with Borchers, Gattuso, Pascal. Somehow they all stay in line, braking for the Kleine chicane. Nobody makes a move. Remember, Borchers is one of the cars that is very damaged, and I thought that he would have gone in, but he has kept that car out.
He's kept it out, and he's competing. Daniele Gattuso now in his mirror, and Gattuso going to have to find a way to navigate this, get around.
Boy, no retreat, no giving up for Richard Borchers as now Gattuso looks to the inside. Oh, we got a spin in front of them.
Oh, boy. Keith Herner and Kaya Ruokola.
Oh, no. Boy, we're seeing some familiar names over and over with these incidents. Keith Herner gets it going, but Ruokola sits stationary. Oh, wow. Let's watch from onboard Herner. From that view, Sean, it looked like he was well inside of him, but boy, Ruokola turned in like that car was not there. Oh, yeah, Herner was kind of, he was straight lining it by the time Ruokola turned in. So, bit of half dozen of one, 12 of the other on that incident between those two cars. Both of them back going again, I believe. Or actually, did Ruokola finally throw in the towel? I'm trying to find him.
Yeah, Ruocola's in the pit, yes.
Ah, there he is. Well, That's 3 incidents for Ruicola before we've completed lap 9. I don't blame him that he's finally decided enough is enough. Meanwhile, if we could jump back up front, and there we see Arlito Gernot Frisch leading the way, but the real interest is going to be between Orlampi and Vandenberg, which have not separated.
Not at all. In fact, still running very, very competitive, very, very close laps, Joe. Only half a second separates the two, and that's the way it's been for quite some time now. Gernot now having to deal with traffic up in front of him. He's got, what is it, Thierry? Who's that? Thierry in front of him there, Thierry Lecart.
Yeah, this is lap traffic. So I thought he was going to pull aside. He almost comes back to the race line. Oh, no! And clatters it over the sausage curbs. Unfortunately for Vandenberg, he has to come to almost a halt to let him collect himself, and still is not able to get through. Who's this behind him? That's Matt Wood. That's for position. And Gerd Hoffer is in it as well. Vandenberg loses a whole 3.5 seconds in that altercation.
Wow, wow, wow. How quickly things can change, Joe. And Thierry Lecart winds up being a problem there for those guys.
I think Soup is going to have a sit down there with Thierry with the next backmarkers meeting to help guide him in how to deal with letting cars by. That certainly did not go well for any party.
We'll get him through the 12-step program. Don't worry.
As we watch Matt Wood do his best to try and capitalize on that incident, but unfortunately he's already losing touch on Vandenberg.
Joe, I've got to report on this because it's relevant. Daniele Gazzoso, yeah, still trying to get. Well, okay, I'm sorry, forget that. I'll call that back in. I'm going to call that one back in. Sorry.
All right. Well, I will call that Richard Borchers has elected to finally get some repairs. Meanwhile, watching Pascal, as he had a move made on him on turn 1, which unfortunately cut away. Sorry about that.
And so Pascal, same colors as Borchers' car, and that's where I was going, as I thought Borchers was out there still fighting, and he's not. It's Pascal now battling with Fabio Guerrero behind him, and QC Clapp just in front of him.
Yeah, Clapp was the one that made the move there down into turn 1 and successfully overtake into 14th.
QC, I got to be honest, a little bit off pace today. Not a great qualifying effort, only up a spot so far here as we're now 12 laps into this race.
Nice textbook move by the Ferrari of Clapp. Getting a little help from borrowing the helmet of Lewis Hamilton, it seems, today. How about Gerber, though? Tobias really on Alberton, excuse me. Paolo, the Italian, doing his best to try and hold back Gerber as they come down the front stretch into Erst. A little bit off the apex for him. Gerber looking much more tidy through that first turn. And Sean, we haven't even hit the halfway point of this race. It has been full of action.
It really has, Joe. And honestly, for my money, this is the toughest section of the track. Erst and turn 2 Stairwalk there always just puzzle me. I just never seem to hit it right and get enough speed through there.
Yeah, it's hard to find the apex on that one, especially since you're switching sides on the track coming out of Erst. Difficult to line it up right. Meanwhile, this battle not over by any stretch of the imagination. Gerber getting close through Turleman. Not able to do anything through there. Now through 7. This is where we saw that almighty accident before. A great passing zone down into 8. Gerber takes a look to the inside. Boulderberger spelled. Can it offer a pass? Not without a little argy-bargy, but Gerber makes it work. He's given room.
Wow.
Seen a lot of drivers just send it in there and not give the apex any sort of thought.
Thought Alberton was going to give him a little back right there, but he doesn't. Plays it cool.
Meanwhile, look at this battle with Gattuso. This is for the 13th position. He's got back on the back of Clapp, but he loses ground with a bad exit coming out of the final corner.
Boy, one driver, it's up a lot of spots. It's Pablo Suarez. We don't necessarily have to go to him, but he is struggling with a connection issue today. I don't know if I've ever seen it quite as bad as I've seen it today, and he is going to be tricky to pass when Tobias Gerber catches him, if he can. He's got about a 5-second gap there to work with.
We're riding on board with Gattuso right now, still staying on this battle with Clapp, coming up over the hump. In the meantime, this is spread apart a little bit. Why don't we check in on Vandenberg, see how he's been doing with Wood? Because remember, Vandenberg got caught out by traffic and lost a lot of time. That allowed Wood to get up behind him, but as Wood has tried his best, it looks like he just doesn't have the pace for Vandenberg, just mostly holding on. Oh, and more traffic for Vandenberg. This time, again, Thierry Lecourt.
Yeah, Lecourt was there in the wrong spot, wrong time.
Lecourt making friends today on iRacing. Vandenberg has now got that gap back down to 0.3 between himself and Wood.
Yeah, that really did help Matt quite a bit there. Matt had dropped back to over a half a second.
His pace is just so close, Sean, just not quite there. He holds on to him, but those few tenths just here and there seem to slowly slip out of his grasp. This is our closest fight. We do have a bit of one for 11th between West and Winfield. We'll go back to that if that gets any closer. But right now, with this being farther up the field, I want to see if Vandenberg can continue to try and pull away from Wood. We ride on board, looking over the shoulder of Wood, taking it right out to the edge over the curbs. And there on to the left, you could see all the buildings next to the canal that this track juts up next to. And then they speed away from there down into the Kleine Chicane. Vandenberg coming up on more traffic. This is Andrew Ang this time, down 22nd. Ang's going to pull over the hump, let both cars through, and the battle continues.
Jared Hofer just had trouble navigating around Andrew Ang. Close moment, almost clipped him.
Yeah, that was into Turleman, and I think let's get an onboard of Hofer on this one, just to give our viewers. And I think, as much as we talk about the back markers and really them needing to pull over, Sean, as we caught just the end of it there. Here we go. We'll get a better view. But the closing rate on this car this should give our viewers a better idea of what it's like to be in the cockpit.
Yeah, well, all of a sudden he's going to be right there, and he's got to get all the way on the brake.
And poor Ang, he was doing his best. So both of them continue on. There you see Ang in 22nd right now. He's trying to run down Todd Herner at the moment. Only car that he is on the same lap as. Last car in the lead lap at the moment, Andrew Jones. He's got about a straightaway before Prix catches him. Running the Leighton House livery. That's a bit period late, I'd say, for this car. 1989 seems a bit of a stretch.
Joe up front, I fear they may have let Journo get a little bit too far ahead. Closing on 5.5 seconds now.
Yeah, that is going to be hard to overcome. But we've seen, though, Sean, that traffic has played a role that can possibly whittle that down. But not just that, but Prix also could get a cut course on the chicane. Something that we didn't get to talk about in the pre-race, that is a big factor in how these races play out.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, listen, Journo's made mistakes before. Yes, they're rare, but anything could happen here. We still have we're just getting to the halfway point of this race, so still a lot to get in here.
Ooh, Frazier and Suarez, sorry to cut you off in a side-by-side battle, and this is for 7th and 8th. And it looks like Suarez comes out on top on that one. Frazier having to watch out how close he fights with Suarez still blinking in and out.
Yeah, I've been following that one off and on, and it is difficult, Joe. It really is, because his connection has been very, very inconsistent during this race, and so he was careful with that move around Frazier, but it continues, and that's going to make it tough for Frazier to try and pass him back.
Ooh, he's got a great run coming out of Bianchi. If he could get into the slipstream here, is he close enough? No, but still a defensive move from Suarez down into Kleina, just to be safe. These two continue on. Also got, whoa, big mistake by Frazier, though, into Turleman, and you can see how much that's going to cost him. Just that few inches too far down into the braking, and what was about 3 or 4 tenths is up to a second now. Just behind them, if we could jump back, West and Alberton. West taking a bit of a peek on Alberton down into Boulder Burgosfeld. But as much as he's looking at the car ahead, the car behind is sizing him up. Mark Winfield as well, less than half a second back.
Yeah, Winfield's been back here driving hard, Joe. I mean, he's been in this picture pretty much the whole race with these guys, and he is watching very carefully ahead for both of them to maybe make a mistake here and pounce on this opportunity. He's got plenty of time here to get these 2 spots from him, but it's Winfield that I think might be winning the battle here a bit right now, as he's taking care of the car, doesn't seem to be overdriving it, and keeps them very, very close here for a possible move in the very near future.
Oh, Alberton was way off the apex through Bianchi, and I thought that West was going to be able to take advantage, but he carried a little too much speed, got 2 tires into the gravel, and that compromised his speed out of the corner. Even still, Kleina chicane gives him another chance, takes a whiff at it. Looks to the inside of Turleman, but he's not close enough once again.
Yeah, I don't think Barry is going to take any unnecessary risks. He got a little bit of damage on the front wing. He doesn't want to carry any more.
Takes a peek down into Boulder Burgosfeld for the second time in 2 laps, and for the second time in 2 laps, it doesn't go off. We've had a bit of a battle farther down for 17th. It was closer not long ago. Steve Sarles has Adam Dizderevic behind him, but Adam has backed off since. Adnan, excuse me.
This is a good battle. Keith Herner just back there. Andrew, the lapped car, John Stevens, but Jerno Friesch going to be coming through here real quickly, Joe. Very, very tail end of that. You'll see the blue and white car in the picture.
Not the thing that our leader wants to see. And remember, didn't you say it was 5.5 seconds between Friesch and Norlampi?
Joe, I'm so glad you brought that up, because the preacher starting to lay down some hot laps here. He was 0.3 quicker on the last lap.
Ooh, so Norlampi has a fire lit under him now. And that is exactly what the Austrian does not need, because that Finn could certainly threaten the win. With 14 laps left, he's got plenty of time to try and cut that down further.
Ooh, Tobias Gerber just getting around Frazier, taking the 8th spot.
Ooh. As we pull up the replay, this is interesting to note, because Frazier not long ago was on the attack on 7th with Suarez, so he must have had some issues that sent him backwards. Well, easy pickings for Gerber.
Frazier cooked him going into the turn, and
easy to do around this track.
Yeah, and Gerber was able to take a clear advantage of that and get ahead. But I'll tell you what, he has put some distance between himself and Frazier now.
Wow, it is coming down hand over fist. Jerno Friesch's lead is now down to 2.3 seconds. Norlampi is just chopping away.
Wondering if Jerno maybe picked up some damage on a curve. I'm going to go down and look at the car. I do see some do see some damage on the front wing. May have picked it up in traffic. Joe, that might have him. It might be just enough to have him off base.
We've definitely got to keep the aerodynamics in pristine condition on this car to have it in good working order, particularly the underside, which unfortunately we can't see. But Prix holding it at station now, 2.5 seconds. Norlampi hasn't cut into it anymore recently.
More traffic coming up, though. Adnan Distarovich and Steve Sarles are going to be the next cars in front of Journo.
Indeed, and those two are in a battle, which is going to make it even tougher for him trying to squeeze through here. You know, one thing that we've seen a bit of that we haven't touched on yet, Sean, is the other difficulty of this car is it does not like slow corners. And, oh boy, does this, this track carries him in spades.
This is the dictionary picture for tough, slow corners.
Adnan looks to the inside, side by side with Sarles, down through Erst, and here comes our leader. He gets through one of them, and he gets through two of them, but not without having to take an alternate line through the corner. And the battle just keeps going on behind him. Sarles around the outside of Adnan. Now he gets it done. But here comes Norlampi. Now Norlampi is going to have to navigate. Oh, he gets them at a much better point. Look at that. Both of them pulling over. And what that means is it goes from 2.5 to 1.5 for the number 3.
Here comes the preacher.
Ready to lay down the law. And these two don't have to worry about Vandenberg because after his early incident, he really has not recovered. Michelle at 7.5 seconds behind Norlampi, 9.5 behind our leader.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure Michelle is safe. Matt Wood is still hanging out with him. They've got some traffic to get through now here in front of him. So, and Jared Hofer back in the picture, Joe.
Boy, final podium spot certainly has not been decided by any stretch of the imagination. With now 12 laps to go, 11 laps to go.
And the traffic getting out of the way. Stevens on one side, Herner on the other. They just split the Red Sea there for him. Let him get through.
Now the good news for our leader, Prix, is he's got quite a long ways up to Guerrero, who is the next car that he's going to lap. So he's got a little bit of time to try and see if he can increase that gap just by putting in some hot laps now. I always felt like, Sean, these are some of the most intense battles that you can have because you can't necessarily see the car chasing you if they're that far back in your mirrors. But you can look at the F3 and you can sense every time they chop another 10th off.
I'm always so scared to look at that F3. I hate taking my eyes away from the track, but yeah, you see it down there or wherever you may have that box position, and that relative tells you everything you need to know about where your opponent's at, Joe. But sometimes the visual helps. This track with its many twists and turns here, it does get the sight lines a little bit skewed.
Meanwhile, Barry West in 11th has to worry about Mark Winfield in his mirrors. He stays defensive. Winfield looking around the outside of Kleina. Could get a better exit off of the chicane, but they are dead even out of there. And this battling is causing them to slip away from Paolo Albertin.
And good on Barry West, man. He has had some kind of drive today. Messes it up in qualifying, but up 13 spots. The top 10 could be slipping away, though, with all this fight he's getting from Winfield.
I'm not sure that he minds too much. At this point, he's just trying to hold on to any position he can. As they come down to Ix. He's looking a lot safer now from Winfield, who's backed off. Oh, he goes pretty deep, though, into Ix. Somehow doesn't lose time. I'm not sure how. That car was way in there.
He was fortunate to reel that in there, Joe. He really was.
Meanwhile, in 7th position, Suarez was worried about Frazier. That is switched over to Tobias Gerber. Gerber hounding him, coming into the Kleine chicane. They're coming up to traffic. This is Thierry Lacourt. Lacourt stays on the racing line. Suarez gonna have to wait patiently. Oh, no, he pulls off to the side. Beautiful move by Lacourt to let both of them through. No interruption. Gerber, though, still trying to see if he can pry anything out of Suarez's hands. He's going to be close down into Boulder. Berghaarspeld, he takes a peek. Ooh, defensive move, late defensive move from Suarez. Holds him off for now.
Boy, what an adventure driving around Pablo Suarez today.
And I'm not sure, Suarez might not even be aware that he's blinking as much as he has. Sometimes from your perspective in the car, your connection, going to your computer from the other cars is fine. It's the connection you're sending out that you just don't know and aren't aware that everybody else is seeing a car dance around the track. Typically, that's when we get someone getting on the radio, which I haven't heard yet.
Right.
And the overlay, the last lap for Suarez, you are seeing a mistake there. He did not run a 5-second lap.
Now, Joe, we don't have to go to this real quick. I just want to tell you that over the past lap and a half, Steve Sarles and Adnan Dizdarovic have passed each other about 4.5 times. One time was not successful, but those two continue to battle. Actually, we probably can go to it because here we go. Sarles making another run at Dizdarovic here. And it's around.
Oh, it couldn't last forever. Adnan finally makes a mistake.
John Stevens behind them makes an evasive move and locks him up just outside of Hurst. Here's Dizdarovic going to look to the inside. Going to try and keep it tight in Hurst, and it doesn't work out for him.
Nice catch, though, keeping that on the track and from looping around completely. Stevens, however, unfortunately, having to take a trip through the kitty litter. How about Steve Sarles, though, withstanding the pressure and coming away golden on that one?
Yeah, indeed.
How about we take another peek at our battle for fourth, because even though Matt Wood is falling away from Vandenberg, Gerd Hoffer still keeping the pressure on to the number 7.
Yeah, Joe, 8 laps to go here. I think Gerd got a chance here to maybe take a bite out of another spot.
Let's stay with this battle, but just an update. Johan Noah Lampe has lost about a half a second on Jarno Frisch. It's gone up to 2 seconds between them. So not falling off by any means, but still not making ground.
But traffic lies ahead for Jarno Frisch. Vincent Pascal and Daniele Gattuso. Those two actually having a bit of a battle. That's for 13th.
Whoa, and
boy.
Traffic ahead of them as well to complicate things. Poor Frisch in no man's land in all of this, has nowhere to go. He does get on the radio, although I think that was just a quick thank you from him. Usually when drivers don't say anything and they give a little hit of their mic button, that's kind of the Lotus 79 driver community sign of a thank you without getting on the air.
Johan Noah Lampe trying to take advantage of this here. Oh, car in front of him bounces it off the curb. That's Daniele Gattuso.
Noah Lampe gets through without much incident, and it's down to 1.3 seconds, so he did, in fact, gain time out of all that.
Amazing.
It is winding down now. 7 laps to go.
Juha's making this very interesting, Joe. They're going to have more traffic in front of them. They're not done.
He is almost teasing us in this. He gets so close, and then it stretches back away again, and then he chops it down some more. Down to 1.2 now. And now you can see them both within the same camera shot. That is how close it's getting. So can the Austrian withstand the pressure? That's the big question in all of this.
Yeah, I wonder who's teasing who, though. Because, is Jarno just kind of, backing off just a little bit, enjoying his Sunday drive. Then he gets a little pressure. He's like, all right, let me step on it a second. Getting around Andrew Eng there. Eng getting out of the way.
Meanwhile, battle for 7th on once again. Same two we saw before, Suarez and Gerber. Gerber much closer. He's got a good slipstream, and you can see Suarez knows it. He stays to the inside. Gerber's going to chance it, trying to go side by side with a blinking car through Kleina chicane. They both managed to come out, but the car behind spins. That's Adam Frazier somehow keeping it out of the tires, but just barely. On board the Virginia's driver.
He didn't need any help on that one. Oh, and just, like you said, Joe, just barely.
Yeah, Adam, the country road does not go that way, so he gets it back on course. Unfortunately, loses a lot of time, but fortunately, doesn't lose any positions. He stays in 9th after that incident. So we switch up to Michelle Vandenberg. Matt Wood, once again, back on him. This has been yo-yoing back and forth almost all race long.
Yeah, Matt Wood like a prize fighter right now, kind of measuring him up to maybe pull off another move here. These two have traded gloves here just a couple of times during this race, Joe. Been fun to watch.
It's Ferrari versus Brabham. Vandenberg leading in the Ferrari, Wood and the Brabham behind. And again, remember, this counts for points, or for teams' championship points between these two. So it's not just their personal pride at stake. Their teammates are cheering them on from the sidelines.
And Joe, you know what? I'd feel bad if we didn't talk about this battle between Daniele Gattuso and Mason Pascal again. These two are still going at it. Pascal right now looking to set up here. Gattuso taking a look at it. Oh, and he runs it too wide.
I was just going to say, withstanding the buffeting of Gattuso, tight up behind that gearbox. But unfortunately, without the downforce, you could see how easily that car slid wide through Bianchi. That was Eng getting out of the way of the two of them, letting that battle continue. Ooh, big mistake coming out of Turleman for Gattuso. Pascal is on him once again. Takes a look to the inside. He was given room by Gattuso, but couldn't get side by side. Takes another look down into Boulder Berghaarspelt. Not a serious one as he comes back to line. Once again, though, Gattuso deciding to leave room at the apex. And it magically doesn't hurt him too bad as he pulls away coming off the corner.
Man, you remember that battle between Sarles and Gzdarovic? Well, it's over. Sarles with trouble coming out of the Kleina chicane. Gzdarovic able to get away and take advantage of that.
Sad to see, since Sarles had pulled ground on him before. Sarles just behind John Stevens. This is not for position, though. Oh, wow, Matt Wood getting ever close to Vandenberg, and they've got traffic in front of them. That's the battle we were just talking about. Gattuso and Pascal. Pascal gets on by on the inside of Bianchi. Bad exit for Vandenberg. Here comes Matt Wood. Are they going to go three wide, getting their way through traffic? But Wood is not brave enough. He backs out of it.
Boy, and is Mason Pascal the big winner there, or what? Look at the distance he dropped between him and Gattuso.
Organized confusion as the cars overtake traffic in the midst of a battle for the podium. Matt Wood still holding on. Could have had a chance at Vandenberg if he was more aggressive. Decided maybe with 4 laps to go, he'll get a better opportunity later. They come through Boulder Berghaarspelt, the lone hairpin on this track. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can imagine these guys are in a full-on sweat right about now, Joe.
I have no doubt. Up ahead of them, the gap has increased between Frisch and Norlampi to 2.5 seconds. And this battle is 12 seconds behind them. So really no threat to our two leaders at this point. And I'm sure these two know it. That right now, all they're thinking about is the fight right in front of themselves. right on board with Vandenberg, looking back through Bianchi. You can see gaining ground. Matt Wood slipping away bit by bit.
Joe, I'm really close to giving my top 5 best drivers at this track of all time.
Your top 5 of this track specifically?
Yes.
And what prompts you to that?
Just based on their performance in the last race and their performance right now. It's just absolutely insane. The top 5 are dialed in at Circuit Zolder.
Is it the same top 5 as last race? Are they filling the top 5 right now?
They are, yes.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Only difference right now is that Juha's got the second spot on the podium, and Vandenberg is actually on the 3rd spot at the podium now.
As Bill Zahn likes to say, the cream rises to the top.
Sure has.
Oh, meanwhile, side-by-side battle between Suarez and Gerber once again, and Kleine and Gerber again can't make it work. He gets a run out of there. Is he going to look in a tournament? No, he runs out of track. Sorry to cut you off there, Sean, but saw that one erupting once again.
Barry West is in trouble back here. That 10th spot, not safe. QC Clapp trying to take a stab at him. So's Mark Winfield.
Oh. Clapp to the outside, down at a tournament. They go door to door. Oh, and they come together. Clapp gets turned around. Gets it going once again, but let's look at the replay.
That's an inherent risk. I'm sorry. That's an inherent risk of racing like that here with 2 laps to go.
Especially in the chicane. Well, Clapp tried to go west, and it didn't come out for him. So it moves him down to 12th.
I say that's just a racing deal. I don't think those two would be too upset with each other when it's all said and done with 2 laps to go, Joe.
As we continue to watch the Durex machine of West, Tobias Gerber continues to hound Pablo Suarez. And Suarez really weaving across the track, trying to break the draft of Gerber. This time Gerber has the inside. It isn't light enough on the brakes to get to the apex. Not much longer for Gernot Frisch. He only has to hold this 2-second gap for a single lap. He gets by the car of Barry West, puts him a lap down. Which puts a car as well between our leader and Nora Lampe. And up to Turleman they come. Mark Winfield just ahead. Winfield able to see, most likely, in his F3 box that this is the leader. This will be the first time he's put a lap down. He slips to the inside, brakes early, lets Frisch through.
Boy, what a run by Frisch. Juha really digging back there, but I just don't think it's going to be enough here at this point.
Yeah, unless we see a mistake out of Gernot out of the final corner. But as he comes up to Ix, no such luck for Nora Lampe. Gernot Frisch is going to be your winner in round 8 of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship. Nora Lampe brings it home in second. And Vandenberg, probably thinking about what could have been, but at least he holds them off to complete the podium.
And Matt Wood and Jared Hofer are going to complete the top 5.
Now, how about the kitten-powered car? Mark Pickford. This is a fantastic run. I know it says that he's 5th, but he's actually going to come home 6th here behind Hofer. Timing and scoring get a little screwy here after the race finishes. Great run by the Brit.
Pablo Lambarez Suarez is going to finish this race with one of the more unstable connections I've seen in a while, but he pulls it off. Great job, Pablo. Even better job by Tobias Gerber just behind. Maybe. Takes one last look at it. I don't think it's going to happen here, Joe.
He gets a run, but it's too little, too late. Yeah. Suarez ekes him out, and Gerber is going to have to settle for 8th position. With that completes our field on the lead lap. So let's take a quick break here. We're on screen. You're going to see all the upcoming races on GSRC. But after that, we'll give you the official results as well as driver interviews. So don't go away.
They say it's always darkest before the dawn. And in the world of motorsports, those words ring especially true. As is tradition, Daytona greets us as we emerge from our winter hibernation. But this year, we awaken 30 years in the past. This time we celebrate a bygone era as drivers take to the unrefined beasts that are the Audi Quattro and Nissan GTP. A new season is about to dawn. The darkness about to fade. The Major Series and Late Apex Apparel proudly bring you the 2018 Classic Daytona 2.4, an endurance race from the ages, for the ages. Coming to you live, iRacing Live, on February 4th, 2018.
Welcome back to Circuit Zolder. We just watched round 8 in the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship. Not many surprises up at the top 5 if you watched the previous race that we didn't broadcast here of the Lotus 79s. Up front, Jerno Frisch takes the win, but Juha Norlampi, he finished only a second and a half behind him at the line. And in fact, he chopped that down from almost 5 seconds earlier in the race. So that tells you how tight this was all race long. Michelle Vandenberg completes our podium, well back from those two, though. Matt Wood kept hounding him all race long, but it was not enough. He has to settle for 4th. And Gerd Hoffer, he gets a top 5. Mark Pickford, nice job for the Kitten Man to get 6th place, and Pablo Suarez withstands his bad connection to get himself 7th. Tobias Gerber comes home just behind him in 8th, getting pipped at the line. And Adam Frazier, a late mistake, sends him well back to be the last car in the lead lap, finishing 9th. In our top 10, he is rounded out by the first car lap down, Mark Winfield.
Barry West picks up 13 spots to finish 11th, needed 14 spots to get to 10th, but great run by him. I think we're going to get a chance to talk to him. QC Clapp with a 12th place finish. Maison Pascal, 13th. 14th, going to go to Daniele Gattusto. Fabio Guerrero will finish 15th. Adnan Dizdarovic will finish 16th. 17th, Steve Sarles. Keith Herner in 18th. Andrew Jones, 19th. And Andrew Eng will finish 20th, Joe.
21st goes to Todd Herner with John Stevens behind him in 22nd, Paulo Albertin, and 23rd, and Thierry Lacourt comes home 24th. And this is where you get into cars that ran into issues in DNF. Richard Borchers, 25th, Kalle Ruokola, 26th. Bad day for Ruokola. Finn is not going to be happy about that one. Nicholas Landau comes home 27th, Steve Bycroft in 28th, and Fabian Gerber, 29th. Lear Hughes rounds out our top 30. Then the last of them will be Robert Simpkins, 31st, Thomas Hedstrom, 32nd, Randy Hatches, 33rd, and Peter Canesi rounding out the field. I think he may have been a did not start in 34th. With that, let's see who we've got waiting in the wings to talk to. Our winner, of course, Frisch, is out here ready to talk to us, putting aside the champagne momentarily. Journo, you certainly didn't make it look like it was a walk in the park. Juha kept catching up to you. Was that you managing the pace, or was he really that fast?
Hi, guys. I think it was really that fast. Maybe it was due to some front wing damage. Might have been the case because I was cutting the first chicane once, got a slowdown there. So usually that's not really good for the front wings.
Wondered if there was any problems for you. We mentioned that the course chicane, or excuse me, the chicane cut course penalties are something that can affect the way the race plays out. Is that something that you practiced a lot to kind of figure out exactly where the line is this week, or were you not too worried about the chicanes and felt pretty confident about them?
I think this is a track where you never really feel confident about the chicanes because those curbs are really nasty for the Lotus at least. So yeah, it's also a matter of luck to survive a race without damage.
Speaking of a bit of a matter of luck and never feeling comfortable, next week is going to be the Nordschleife. Do you think you can get another win there?
Well, that's a tough question. Usually it's not my best track. Some of the guys do it always better than me there. So yeah, I don't know what it is. So I'm usually not winning there.
Well, I guess then it's time to get the practice in now, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I hope so too. Okay, bye-bye.
And that was our winner, Journo Frisch, here today. Second place, Juha Norlampi, the preacher, is talking to Sean Ambrose about how his race went.
Well, Juha, if you run one more race today, maybe you'll actually get to the top of the podium. You go one better in this one, you get to second. It was a hard-fought second place finish. Talk to us about your race, my friend.
Yeah, hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm very well, sir, and it was a lot of fun watching you today. It looked like you were catching Journo there over the last 10 laps or so.
Well, I don't know about that. Well, I wasn't very comfortable with my car because I hadn't have strength or time or whatever you call it to practice this week. I just noticed yesterday that I was off pace with Michael and Gernot 2 or 3 tenths or most more, and I just tried today to make some setups, and I wasn't comfortable to drive this car, and this track is so hard for the physics. You had to push every lap 100% if you want to manage to win here. And well, I was some laps I was very fast, but other laps I made mistakes and I pushed too hard because I didn't know my car well enough, and well, that was the case, and too many mistakes.
Well, you know what? It's always so hard to get a gauge for how excited you are about a second place finish, because it sounds like it was all doom and gloom. You made it look easy, man. I got to be honest with you. This is a tough track. Are you a fan of this track, or is this one of those ones that there's a little bit of fear maybe that comes into you when you get here?
Well, I noticed then when I was sick with this chronic fatigue syndrome that I had some problems with my brains then, and I couldn't turn to the left as well as to the right, and that was very painful when I was struggling with the first turn, and that was tricky, and is tricky tricky turn anyway. And now I notice that my health is better now, and even though I still have this flu a little bit, but my brains are working a little bit better now, and I think it's giving me 2 or 3 tenths more speed for this track. And I noticed that the last time we were here, I was over 6 or 7 tenths slower than Gernot then, and I know that I have been making a progress. And this track is one of the trickiest for me, and I'm so glad that I was almost at the top speed, but not quite. But let's see next time, if God will.
Well, and we hope to see you in Germany next week, my friend. Thank you very, very much for another interview, and congratulations again for putting it on the podium. We'll see you next time.
See you, Sean. Bye-bye.
Joe, that was the preacher, Juha Norlampi, and I think we caught up with one more driver here, and it'd be Barry West, who had a magnificent drive today.
Yeah, Barry West is with me, and Barry, you, Winfield, and QC Clapp seem to have a almighty scrap all race long for that 10th spot.
It was, and what did I do with it on the last lap? I couldn't believe it. The first time I drove off track there, I just couldn't believe it. I saw in F3, I saw Gernot coming that close. He was 1.3 seconds behind, and that split second, I just drifted wide onto the grass, and that gave Mark Winfield a chance to get through. So great drive by him, because he was behind me from lap 6 onwards, I believe, and pressuring all the time. And I think I just had the edge, but QC caught up a few times. I mean, he was really fast. He must have had really light wing, because he just flew. He could have flown by me on the straight. I don't know why he seemed to try and take me in the chicane, and I thought I gave him room, but I couldn't disappear off the track. That happened twice. First at the right-hand hairpin, and then in the chicane. So apologies to him if he thinks I've upset him, but it's one of those things. I think it was a racing incident. He could have breezed by me on the straight if he just stayed behind me, I think. But I was so determined to keep that P10, and then I got it so away. But yeah, it was a great race. Great race.
Sometimes that just happens in battles. I have to wonder, though, when you get late in the race with those scraps that you're having, do you ever wish that you could get fresh rubber on the Durex car?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You're used to it deteriorating, so you're in tune with the car, aren't you? By the time that time comes, I mean, I had a good race the other day where the last lap, last corner, I tried a desperate lunge, and it didn't work. But yeah, I suppose last lap is a bit different. But when I saw I could hold him off first time, then he came back so quick, I thought I could hold him off again. I only got 2 laps to go. If it had been the early part of the race, I don't think I'd have given how much hope to try and hold it, because it just slowed us all both up. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it cost me a place. I might have got back in front of Mark in the end. But yeah, never know. But yeah, I'm happy with P11. I'm sure Mark is with P10. So yeah.
24th to 11th is nothing to be ashamed of. Well, thanks for coming and talking to us, and we hope to see you again next week.
Yeah, cheers, Joe. Bye. Thanks, you guys.
That was Barry West, 11th place finisher here today. With that, we're going to close up. And of course, we got to thank a few people before we go. Of course, a big thanks to the Lotus 79 community for coming and broadcasting with GSRC for yet another season. And also thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. They're listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. We mentioned it before. We're going to Germany, to the Nordschleife for February 11th. That'll be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.